Right then, the second part of P2 is looking at space and looking at the solar system in particular. Okay, now please remember that the universe consists of planets, comets, meteors, stars, galaxies and black holes. We now only have 8 planets. Please remember that Pluto has been declassified, and they move around the sun in paths called orbits, which are slightly squashed circles called ellipses, held together in orbit by the gravitational force of the sun, which provides something called the centripetal force needed to prevent the planets from flying off. So it just keeps them in orbit around the sun. Now if we look at comets, for instance, of an object that is moving around in space, comets are made of ice and dust and are bigger than meteors, and they travel in highly elliptical orbits. You may have heard of Halley's Comet, and that is a really famous one because scientists have realised that it actually travels around and close enough to Earth to see around about, I think it's every 76 years, but it does take this pathway that you can see above. Now when the comet actually travels around the sun, you can see that it actually moves faster, and this is because of the pull of the sun around it. So if we look at a solar system then, a light year, when you're looking at programs like Star Trek and Star Wars and whatever, that is the distance that light travels in a year. So you can imagine it's an absolutely massive distance. So space is a dangerous place. There's many difficulties facing a manned space mission to other planets. Apart from the fact that the planets are very, very far away, you need to think about the fuel to get the rocket to take off. You need to have room on the rocket to store enough food, water and oxygen for the whole journey. It's not like you can just run out and go to the shop, because if you run out, you run out. A lot of systems on space rockets look at actually recycling the water. So it sounds pretty disgusting, but when they go to the toilet, all of the urine goes through a recycling system, and actually when they need a drink of water, they're basically drinking the recycled urine, obviously with the urea and waste particles taken out. Also you need to have a stable artificial atmosphere. The temperature is about -270, so you can imagine keeping the actual rocket warm again is another issue. When we leave Earth's magnetic field, humans need shielding from cosmic rays. Also the low gravity affects people's health, making muscles weak, and radio signals carrying messages do take a very long time to reach home. So all these things you need to consider when exploring space, and you may well be asked a 6-mark question on this. Okay, and here's just a diagram of a manned spacecraft of the future perhaps. So large storage of food, water and oxygen, a transmitter, emergency escape craft, a gym equipment to help reduce the effects of low gravity, extra shielding, temperature and atmosphere carefully controlled, and extra fuel needed. Okay, so what are the advantages of using space probes? Well, they can be sent on long missions because you don't have to worry about getting the space probe to return. Obviously flies only one way. They are safer and also can be sent to dangerous places because you're not causing any harm to any living organism. Don't require any food or air. Cheaper than manned missions. They can be reused, but obviously then you don't have the human element of actually, if something is seen, you know, that they could actually be sent or to make informed decisions. So if we look at the Earth and the Moon, there's only theories here that the Moon may have been formed from the remains of a planet that collided with the Earth billions of years ago. And again, like I said, it's only a theory of Moon and how it came about. Some scientists suggest that the planets actually collided and the iron cores merged to form the core of the Earth. The less dense material flew off and now orbits the Earth, and that is known as our moon. Like I said, it's only a theory, and we can only ever work on theories until we can produce evidence to state otherwise. Okay, so collisions with Earth. There have been collisions with Earth in the past, and you'll see any crater marks that are left all over the Earth. Shows you where asteroids usually have hit the Earth. Asteroids, there's lots of them, and they tend to travel around in an orbit between Mars and Jupiter, and it is known as the asteroid belt. Occasionally they're knocked off course, and the consequences for Earth can be severe. The collision can cause a crater, an ejection of hot rocks, widespread fires, sunlight blocked by dust, climate change and species extinction. It is a theory that this is what knocked out all the dinosaurs and made most of those extinct, was an actual asteroid hitting the Earth. And actually, by hitting the Earth, it threw up that much dust and dirt into the atmosphere that it blocked out the sun's light as well, so it reduced the numbers of plant species. So if you're asked to talk about what evidence there is for past collisions, obviously craters is the biggest piece of evidence. And if you look at like images of like Google Earth and things like that, you'll see where there's particularly big craters on the Earth's surface. Also, if you've got layers of unusual elements found in the rocks that you probably wouldn't find anywhere else on Earth, then that's another suggestion that they have come in through an asteroid. Okay. So near Earth objects, we are constantly monitoring the skies to see if there's any large objects that are going to come anywhere near the Earth that can actually hit or cause us any devastation. We use telescopes to determine their something called trajectories, and that's like the pathway that they're going to take. It's difficult sometimes because they move quickly and there are so many. We must therefore survey the skies to identify threats as early as possible, to hopefully, if it did come to it, then maybe deflect the object with an explosion if a collision does seem likely. Although I'm sure if you've seen some of the films, they're all very much glorified and make it look quite easy.